The story begins with Xiaoyu, the senior disciple of the Carefree sect. Everyone thinks he is weird, but he's actually just an ordinary guy that was reincarnated into this world. His new life has been too easy and comfortable, so he worries he is just a side character that will become fodder when the protagonist shows up. So his mission is to do everything he can, just to survive. He is convinced that his junior Lin Fei is the protagonist because he has a tragic backstory and is considered to be a prodigy. So Xiaoyu clings onto him, begging for his protection, but Lin Fei just finds him weird. Their junior Zhao, who is stuck at level 2, asks for Lin Fei's advice for cultivation training, because he's already at level 7, but Lin Fei can't relate to him, because he has a heavenly spiritual root, which makes him a genius, so he has never had problems with his training. He explains that Zhao has twin spiritual roots like Xiaoyu, so Zhao immediately goes to Xiaoyu for help. Lin Fei tries to stop him, but it's already too late. We see Xiaoyu, who is at level 8, but he tells Zhao not to worry about cultivation, since they are just NPCs in the story. Zhao wonders what an NPC is, but before Xiaoyu could answer, a bright light surrounds him, and he somehow reaches level 9. Lin Fei rushes over, revealing that Xiaoyu levels up every time someone asks him about cultivation. He kicks Xiaoyu out of jealousy, saying he has worked so hard just to reach level 7, while he is already at level 9. One day, their sister Mei is looking for Xiaoyu, but he hides from her. She runs into Lin Fei, but gets disappointed it's not Xiaoyu. Zhao sees him hiding from Mei, and can tell that she likes him, so he asks Xiaoyu why he doesn't want to be with her. But Xiaoyu can see that Lin Fei likes her, so it would be suicide to compete with the protagonist. They begin to argue, causing Mei to notice them. Xiaoyu runs away, but she chases after him, and Lin Fei seems upset. As Xiaoyu is eating some fruits, Lin Fei becomes upset with his behavior, wondering why he is so lazy. Lin Fei warns him not to take fruits from a certain area in the garden, but Xiaoyu teases him, saying that he must be planning to save the best fruits for Mei, because he likes her. Lin Fei suddenly pulls out his sword, threatening to end Xiaoyu's life if he says anything about it. Xiaoyu promises not to say anything, but Zhao overhears them, so Lin Fei threatens to end both of them. The next day, Zhao thinks about the complicated relationship between the disciples, since Lin Fei likes Mei, but she likes Xiaoyu. But he wonders who Xiaoyu likes. Later that day, Xiaoyu visits to give him some food, along with a secret scroll that can help him with his cultivation. Zhao gets freaked out by this, thinking that Xiaoyu likes him, but his senior hugs him, telling him he feels the most comfortable around him, since they are both side characters. We see them in a room with Lin Fei. As Zhao reads the scroll, he notices that Xiaoyu is staring at him, so he gets scared, wanting to avoid his senior for a while. He asks Xiaoyu if there's something he needs to do, but his senior claims that NPCs don't really need to do anything, and if they did too much, they might get targeted by the protagonist. Zhao hangs out with Mei, thinking that it would help keep Xiaoyu away from him. Xiaoyu tries to warn him that he's in trouble, but Zhao doesn't listen as he continues to enjoy his time with Mei. At the end of the day, Lin Fei is mad at Zhao for spending all day with Mei and chases after him. They run past Xiaoyu, and Lin Fei sees him eating another one of his fruits again, so he chases after him as well. Later, when Zhao is headed to the market, he runs into Xiaoyu, who gives him a talisman just in case, saying he is likely to get robbed since he is a side character, but Zhao doesn't believe him. Sure enough, after shopping, he runs into 3 disciples from the largest sect. Thinking he's about to get robbed, he uses the talisman. The disciples claim they just want to get to know him, but Zhao gets suspicious, so he starts running away, and the 3 disciples chase him. One of them throws needles at him, but Xiaoyu arrives just in time. He tries to act cool, but Zhao realizes that Xiaoyu is already injured because of the needles. Xiaoyu tries to intimidate his enemies, saying that he is level 9, but they notice that he is injured. The 3 of them are at level 8, so they think that they can take him on. He orders Zhao to run away, and he reluctantly obeys, calling out for Lin Fei. After Zhao escapes, Xiaoyu suddenly tells them that there is no need to fight, as he was just pretending to be cool in front of his junior. The men try to strike him down, but he starts running away, begging his enemies to stop chasing him. After a while, Xiaoyu gets exhausted, and they throw needles at him. He sees his life flash before his eyes, and he thinks that he's really going to die, but the needles get deflected, and Lin Fei appears. The three disciples mock Lin Fei, thinking he is only at level 7, but Lin Fei says that Xiaoyu's life belongs to him, charging at them and fighting them all at once. Xiaoyu casually watches, and Lin Fei tells him to help out, but he refuses, saying he is injured, and that they should be no problem for him, since he is the protagonist. Lin Fei ends up winning the fight, and as he is about to finish them off, he gets interrupted as lightning strikes. The enemy's senior brother, Gong, appears asking Lin Fei to spare his juniors. Xiaoyu finds him cool, thinking he is a mini-boss in the story, but Gong's juniors reveal that he is a genius who has mastered many techniques at a young age, making Xiaoyu think that Gong could be the real protagonist of the story. Lin Fei charges at him, but he instantly gets blown away. Gong is about to finish him off, but Xiaoyu blocks his attack. He easily disarms Xiaoyu and grabs him by the neck. Lin Fei calls out to Xiaoyu, catching the attention of Gong, who thinks the name sounds familiar. Lin Fei tries to attack him once again, but he gets stabbed and pinned against the wall. Gong suddenly asks about Xiaoyu's identity as he starts squeezing his face, making him confused. And we learn that Gong is actually blind and recognizes people by touch. After confirming his identity, Gong decides to just leave, but he hopes to meet Xiaoyu again. Later that night, Xiaoyu gets interrogated by Lin Fei about how he knows Gong. And we see that many years ago, Gong was lost and alone. He is approached by a shady guy, but Xiaoyu appears and beats up the man. He offers to help him get home, but since he is blind, Xiaoyu carries him home, and Gong is grateful to him. But Xiaoyu was actually just completing a quest. We meet Uncle Chen, the acting leader of the sect. Their master went into seclusion for 10 years, so he is managing the sect in the meantime, but he has a very short temper. Chen receives a report that the sect is in debt, which makes him angry, and Xiaoyu tries to sneak away, but he gets caught, and Chen orders for him to be kicked out. But 2 days later, he wonders where Xiaoyu is, and the others remind him he kicked him out, but he says he doesn't remember, so he orders everyone to call him back. Chen is revealed to be the father of Mei, but he pretends to be her brother while around the other disciples. She asks him for a new magic weapon, but he knows that their budget is tight, so he is careful about what they spend money on, but he has a soft spot for his daughter. The disciples train for a tournament, but Xiaoyu slacks off, and Lin Fei gets mad at him, thinking he will embarrass their group. But Xiaoyu is not bothered, saying it's fine to lose as an NPC. Chen tells them that the winner of the tournament will win a rare scroll, and Xiaoyu thinks if he can help Lin Fei to win it, he may protect him in the future. They get matched up to fight, and Xiaoyu wants to give up, but Lin Fei insists on fighting. Xiaoyu tries to fight seriously, but he is easily defeated. Chen reprimands him, asking how a level 9 cultivator lost to someone who is only at level 7. But Xiaoyu explains that Lin Fei's heavenly roots are the strongest, so his progress is equivalent to a level 9 cultivator. Mei is worried about his injuries, but he gets nervous as he sees Lin Fei getting angry. Chen congratulates Lin Fei for winning and reminds him not to follow in Xiaoyu's footsteps. Later that evening, Xiaoyu wonders why he isn't the protagonist of the story, even though he was reincarnated. He recalls his first encounter with Lin Fei, thinking he made a good first impression, but now their relationship has deteriorated, so he is going to become cannon fodder. Xiaoyu cries, as he imagines himself suffering an early death, but he is still determined to survive no matter what. One day, Chen summons the disciples, telling them that Mei left for the outside world, but still hasn't returned after 2 days, so he orders them to find her. Xiaoyu imagines that if he is the one that rescues Mei, Lin Fei would resent him and train to become so strong until he eventually comes back to destroy him. But if he lets Lin Fei save her, they will get together and his life would be spared, so he decides to follow this plan. They start looking for Mei, and they eventually find her screaming for help. A mysterious creature appears, and Xiaoyu tells Lin Fei to go ahead and save Mei. Lin Fei thinks he has a plan, but Xiaoyu is ready to cheer for him from behind. Lin Fei attacks the creature, but it manages to evade all of his attacks. The creature attacks using its energy, but Zhao uses an ability that makes the attack disappear. The creature tries to attack Zhao, but Lin Fei deflects the attack. Xiaoyu cheers him on, thinking that his chance of surviving will increase if Lin Fei saves Mei. Lin Fei enchants his sword and launches a thrust that allows him to defeat the creature, but as the creature disappears, Mei suddenly falls. Lin Fei tries to catch her, but he misses, and Xiaoyu panics, thinking he is going to die. Mei gets up, and she starts thanking him for saving her, causing Lin Fei to get upset. As Lin Fei walks away, Xiaoyu knows that he is screwed. During training, Xiaoyu gets chased around by Lin Fei, but Zhao tells them there is a package they need to pick up. They go to the post office and find a very suspicious-looking package. They argue over who should hold it, but Xiaoyu ends up being forced to take it. As they make their way back, he becomes paranoid that he is going to get hunted down by assassins. He gets scared by everything and wants to give the box to Lin Fei, thinking the box is a death flag and only the protagonist can hold onto it, but Lin Fei refuses, saying that there are no assassins around. But at that moment, some men appear, demanding that they hand over the package. While Lin Fei is holding onto the box, Xiaoyu uses a talisman, which instantly sends him flying away. The men chase after him, and Zhao worries for Lin Fei, but Xiaoyu tells him not to worry, since he is the protagonist. Lin Fei gets chased around, while the two just enjoy themselves. After 3 days, Lin Fei still hasn't returned, and Zhao becomes worried again, but Xiaoyu assures him that he will be okay. Lin Fei suddenly returns, and he is furious, so he chases after Xiaoyu, trying to end him, but Xiaoyu hides behind Zhao, who tells them that Chen is looking for them. They go to Chen, and he informs them that the box they brought back was empty. He thinks someone stole the contents, and wonders who carried the box. As Lin Fei is about to tell him the truth, Xiaoyu stops him, and takes the blame. As a result, he gets expelled from the sect, but he is surprisingly happy. As he leaves, the others see him off, and he tells Lin Fei to look after their juniors, because they'll be counting on him. He is the most upset about leaving Zhao, worrying for his safety, because he is the only NPC left, who will likely be used to awaken the protagonist's potential. Although he is sad to leave the sect, Xiaoyu reveals that he took the blame to leave his role as an NPC, and also stay on Lin Fei's good side. He's now happy, because he no longer has to worry about suffering an early death. Suddenly, 3 men appear before him, informing him that Chen wants to destroy his spiritual root, so that he will not be a threat to the sect in the future. Xiaoyu is glad they are not after his life, and casually destroys his spiritual root himself. The men are shocked to see this, and Xiaoyu asks if he can leave. But their leader says that his family is powerful, so he is still a threat to them. Xiaoyu instantly writes a letter that severs his ties with his family, and the men cry thinking he has amazing resolve, so they just let him go. He starts working as a waiter in a small restaurant, and he enjoys his new role. After work, his boss compliments him on his performance, and Xiaoyu celebrates finally escaping his role as a cannon fodder NPC. However, Lin Fei suddenly appears before him. Xiaoyu is shocked to see him, and Lin Fei chases him around. But he tells him that the people at the sect want him back. Xiaoyu doesn't want to go back, saying that he is a bad disciple, but Lin Fei throws his sword and knocks him out. When he wakes up, he panics because they are flying in mid-air. Lin Fei asks him about his relationship with Mei, but Xiaoyu says there is nothing going on. He orders Lin Fei to let him down, so Lin Fei drops him to the ground. Xiaoyu finds himself in a strange place, and Lin Fei asks him if he knows where they are, but Xiaoyu doesn't recognize it. Lin Fei starts walking towards a cliff edge, and Xiaoyu thinks he wants to jump, so he tries to stop him, promising he has no relationship with Mei. Lin Fei reveals he was also reincarnated, but he is reliving his life, and Xiaoyu was the one who killed him. In a flashback, we see Xiaoyu, as he has just defeated Lin Fei. Lin Fei promises to get his revenge on Xiaoyu in the afterlife, revealing that he was the leader of the 3 demonic realms. Back in the present, Lin Fei states that instead of the afterlife, he was given a second chance, and he doesn't blame Xiaoyu since he doesn't remember anything. Lin Fei calls Xiaoyu the protagonist as he pushes him off the cliff. As Xiaoyu falls, he realizes that Lin Fei is actually the final boss, but he becomes excited learning that he is actually the protagonist. Xiaoyu somehow survives without any injuries, so he starts to think that maybe he is the protagonist, but he wonders why he still hasn't met his female counterpart. At that moment, he is greeted by a girl who runs off to show him something. He thinks that if he was the protagonist he would find a secret cultivation manual, but he has no luck, so he thinks he couldn't be the protagonist. However, the girl suddenly returns with a bunch of cultivation books, telling him to pick one because he has great potential for cultivation, introducing herself as Yuna, the second daughter of the Devil King, and invites him to learn the devil cultivation with her, but Xiaoyu refuses to do it. Back at the sect, Lin Fei reports that Xiaoyu isn't coming back, but Chen decides to keep Xiaoyu's position open. Lin Fei recalls meeting Yuna during his past life, and it is revealed that he accepted her invitation to learn the devil cultivation. Mei hears about his report, and she wants to meet Xiaoyu again, but Lin Fei tells her that Xiaoyu wanted to be alone for a while, so he promises to take her to see him in the future. Xiaoyu tries to escape, but he can't, so he is stuck with Yuna. She reveals that she is 82 years old, and that she's been trapped there since she was 7 because there is a wind barrier that stops her from leaving. Because of this, she still has the mental capacity of a 7-year-old. She explains that the cultivation manuals were left behind by the other people that also fell down into the canyon, calling them her masters. Xiaoyu wants to know about her cultivation stage, and she reveals she is stuck in the heavenly stage. Xiaoyu is shocked at how strong she is, and she thinks she can level up with a dual cultivation technique, now that Xiaoyu arrived. She has her way with Xiaoyu, but thankfully she thinks like a 7-year-old, so she doesn't know what dual cultivation actually means. The next day, Xiaoyu threatens to end his own life if Yuna pushes him to learn the devil cultivation, but Yuna claims that if he learns it, they will be able to break the wind barrier together and escape. However, Xiaoyu still refuses, saying they can just stay there, as he starts eating one of the fruits. Yuna tells him that the fruit is highly nutritious, and for a guy like him, he will die from too much energy, so Xiaoyu begs her to save him, but devil cultivation seems to be the only way. Yuna finds it strange that he has no spiritual root, but he mentions how he had to destroy it. However, Yuna is able to give him a heavenly spirit root, calling forth a phoenix spirit that forcefully enters his body. Xiaoyu complains that he almost died, but Yuna assures him that the root is from an ancient fire essence and is extremely powerful. His clothes are all burnt, so Yuna gives him some fireproof clothing, because his powers are still unstable. He wonders if she has any clothes for men, but she has no reason to have any. They proceed with their training, and after a year, Yuna thinks that they are ready to break the barrier. Lin Fei and Mei wait for him at the cliff, and Mei doubt Xiaoyu will actually appear. But Lin Fei knows that in his past life, this was the day he emerged from the canyon with Yuna. But after a month, Xiaoyu still hasn't appeared, and Mei suggests going back to the sect, but Lin Fei refuses to return. We see that Yuna was ready to break the barrier, but Xiaoyu insisted on waiting an extra month, hoping to avoid Lin Fei, but when they finally escape, Xiaoyu sees Lin Fei, and he wonders why he's still there. He thinks he's going to die, so he tries to talk his way out, but he suddenly slips, and Lin Fei remembers their encounter in the past, and he thinks about how different Xiaoyu was back then. Lin Fei warns Mei that Xiaoyu is doing devil cultivation, but she goes to him anyways, and she starts chasing him around. Lin Fei prepares to finish him off, but he just runs away, and Lin Fei chases after him. Yuna wonders why Xiaoyu is running, offering to take care of his pursuers, but Xiaoyu tells her to leave Lin Fei alone, because he's the protagonist, so he's invincible. The sky suddenly darkens, and Yuna recognizes it as the cloud of suffering, seeing it as an opportunity to break through to the next level. She thanks Xiaoyu, saying that the dual cultivation must have helped a lot. But Mei and Lin Fei hear this, so they think that Xiaoyu did it with Yuna. Lin Fei charges at Xiaoyu, but he gets interrupted by a lightning strike. The lightning threatens everyone in the area, so Xiaoyu asks Yuna to help save Mei. Lin Fei closes in on Xiaoyu, but lightning is about to hit him, so Xiaoyu pushes him out of the way and gets hit by the lightning. Lin Fei tries to wake him up, not wanting to see his end like this, but he doesn't respond. Xiaoyu suddenly regains consciousness, and he seems to have regained the memories from his past life, asking Lin Fei why he is still alive, but lightning strikes him again, and he's back to his usual self. He explains that he didn't do it with Yuna, and that they misinterpreted her statement. Lin Fei doesn't appear to care, as he starts looking for Mei. Xiaoyu tells him that Mei is safe with Yuna, but Lin Fei explains that Yuna is the center of the lightning storm, so Mei is in danger. They go after her, and Lin Fei asks Xiaoyu if he has a plan. Xiaoyu has no plan, but he just wants to help Mei because he's worried. Lin Fei thinks he will die without a plan, so he decides to kill Xiaoyu himself, summoning 3 swords and launching them at Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu falls off his board and plummets down, crashing into a building. When the dust clears, he seems to have run into Gong. Gong is glad to see him again, but Lin Fei follows Xiaoyu into the building, ordering Xiaoyu to go with him. Gong doesn't like his tone, so he wants to teach him a lesson. As they prepare to fight, Xiaoyu is confused about which of them is the real protagonist. He sees innocent bystanders, so he stops the fight, saying that they might hurt other people. They go to find another place to fight, and Lin Fei thinks about taking Gong out. At that moment, Xiaoyu checks up on him, and he calls him annoying, because every time he is trying to kill him, Xiaoyu becomes so caring. Lin Fei gets fed up with him, and decides to go back to the sect, saying that Mei is going to be fine with Yuna. Gong reveals that when the first devil cultivator appeared, he brought suffering to everyone, so the other sects had to unite to take down the devil king, restoring peace to the land. Xiaoyu wonders why Gong is telling him about this, when Gong suddenly asks him if he is hiding something from him. He reveals that he can move freely despite being blind, because he has trained to sense the qi of everyone around him, stating that the qi in Xiaoyu's body is being reversed, so he knows that Xiaoyu has become a devil cultivator. Xiaoyu panics, and Gong tells him that devil cultivators are supposed to be taken into custody, but decides not to take him in, because he knows that Xiaoyu is still a good person. Xiaoyu complains about his outfit, saying that it is too revealing, but he can't change it because he needs fireproof clothing, so Gong gives him a fireproof cloak to cover up. Yuna suddenly arrives, and Xiaoyu introduces her as his master, but Gong tells him that he doesn't trust other devil cultivators, even claiming that he is no match for Yuna if they fought, so he walks away. Yuna reveals she was able to break through to the celestial stage, but as she starts celebrating, Xiaoyu notices that Mei is not with her. He asks about her, and Yuna says that she passed out along the way, so she put her in the storage world. Xiaoyu panics hearing this, but Yuna says that's where she put all her dead masters. She releases Mei, but she still hasn't recovered from her trip. We meet Han, Gong's senior brother. He talks to a woman named Lulu, and we learn that she has a peculiar condition where the opposite of anything she says will come true. Lulu says that Gong has been out for over a year, and Han thinks he went out to look for Xiaoyu. Lulu thinks it's not so easy to find a single person, saying he wouldn't just fall out of the sky, but that's exactly what happened. She predicts that it will take a while for Gong to come back. But Gong suddenly returns, and Han leaves with him, thanking Lulu for her prediction. The next day, Gong tells Han he is headed off again, because he failed to find a certain box. As he leaves, Han thinks the box should already be open, and it is revealed to be the suspicious box that was delivered to Chen. Lin Fei goes to Chen, and he reports that Mei has been taken away, because they came across a heavenly stage devil, and that Xiaoyu had become a devil cultivator. He suggests uniting the other sects for a devil elimination assembly, but Chen just tells him off as he reprimands him for not protecting Mei. He orders Lin Fei to bring Mei back, shutting his door without saying anything about the devil. Meanwhile, in the demonic sect, we meet the Master Molly, who is close to reaching the heavenly stage, and she wants to go to war with the other sects. Yuna suddenly appears, and the disciples become confused, because she looks almost identical to their master. We learn that they are sisters, and Molly wonders if she's back for revenge, as she reveals that she pushed her off the cliff, because only one of them is allowed to survive. Yuna was always more talented than her, but she boasts about being close to the heavenly stage, thinking that she is now superior to her sister. Molly charges at Yuna, but she fails to land any attacks, so she charges up her ultimate skill, but Yuna continues to dodge her attacks. Molly thinks that she has the upper hand, but Yuna sends her flying with just a flick of her finger, surprising everyone. They realize that Yuna is extremely powerful, so they start following her, and she announces that Xiaoyu is their new senior brother, and declares that they will start living in harmony with the other sects. That evening, Lin Fei thinks about why Chen ignored his warning about Yuna, when suddenly, Chen comes to his senses, ordering him to inform all the other clans to form a devil elimination assembly. We meet Mumu, the newest disciple of the devil sect, and Xiaoyu shows him around. He actually helps people, which confuses Mumu, because he was expecting devils to be evil, but Xiaoyu insists on not causing trouble to stay alive. Lin Fei gets upset, because the other clans don't seem to care about hunting Yuna, and he wonders why things are going differently to the past, and he hears a voice that blames Xiaoyu for everything. Xiaoyu seems quite popular with all the other disciples, and Mei has finally recovered. Xiaoyu reminds them of their new philosophy of doing good, and the disciples are happy to be good people, but Mumu thinks it's odd behavior for the devil sect. As he thinks about doing evil, he encounters a shady figure that offers to teach him how to become a real devil. Xiaoyu is happy that things are going well, and he sees Mumu sneaking around. He orders him to go back to his room because it's getting late. But as he opens the door to his room, he sees Lin Fei, who pulls him inside. He nervously sits with Lin Fei as they discuss how Lin Fei's current storyline is different from that of his past life, so he's trying to set things straight. Lin Fei reveals that it's his birthday, so Xiaoyu must drink with him like he did during his past life, threatening to end him if he doesn't. Xiaoyu starts drinking, but after a few hours, he still doesn't get drunk, and Lin Fei thinks something is wrong. Xiaoyu points out that he still hasn't taken a sip, and he might need to drink to follow the storyline. Lin Fei agrees, thinking that he should take a sip, but after consuming 1 cup, he immediately passes out. In a flashback, we see Xiaoyu drinking with Lin Fei. Lin Fei wonders how Xiaoyu was able to enter, since the sect was protected by barriers, and Xiaoyu reveals that he broke through just to celebrate his birthday with him. Xiaoyu tells him that he will find the person who destroyed Lin Fei's spiritual root, promising not to kill him as long as he remains to be a good person. But after some time, when Lin Fei took down some villains and claims to be good, he gets attacked by the other sects, thinking he is evil. When Xiaoyu sees him, even he isn't convinced that Lin Fei is still a good person, so he walks away. Yuna arrives to save him, and Lin Fei realizes that she is the only one who saw him as his family during his past life. When Lin Fei wakes up, he suddenly starts crying as he blames Xiaoyu for everything that happened to him in the past. He notices Xiaoyu's cloak, and Xiaoyu mentions it was a gift from Gong, but Lin Fei demands he take it off, because he didn't get it during his past life. At that moment, Yuna enters his room, where she sees the two of them in bed. She has no idea what's happening, and Xiaoyu wants to help Lin Fei return to his sect because he's already drunk, but Yuna also gets drunk instead of helping. Lin Fei suddenly grabs onto Yuna, calling her his master, and she takes a liking to him. The next day, Lin Fei wakes up wearing Xiaoyu's clothes, and he learns that they have exchanged outfits. Gong suddenly arrives, hugging Lin Fei as he calls him Xiaoyu, but he immediately realizes that he isn't Xiaoyu. Lin Fei wonders how Gong was able to get into the sect, and recalls his past life, that it was Gong that pushed Xiaoyu to kill him in the past. Xiaoyu suddenly catches on fire because of his unstable spirit root. Gong tells Lin Fei to return Xiaoyu's clothes, but he refuses since Xiaoyu burnt up his outfit. Gong insists, and Lin Fei ends up wearing Gong's extra suit as he leaves. Xiaoyu wonders why Gong is there, and he happens to have gotten lost again, but he sensed Xiaoyu's chi and followed it there. Xiaoyu tells him it's dangerous for him to stay, but Gong wants to stay with him a little longer. He wants Xiaoyu to go back to the Carefree sect, but Xiaoyu says he doesn't want to leave Yuna, saying that she is good and still just a kid, so he doesn't want to leave her. Gong warns him that the other sects will want to destroy the Devil sect no matter what, even if they are good, so he worries for Xiaoyu. But Yuna suddenly wakes up, charging at Gong and stabbing him. She had misheard him talking about eliminating her sect, and she remembered the words of her sister about how the other clans want to destroy them. Xiaoyu explains that Gong is his friend, and Yuna starts crying, but Gong tells her that it's not her fault. Gong starts losing his breath, so Xiaoyu looks for a doctor, but Yuna doesn't even know what a doctor is. Xiaoyu sees a talisman on Gong, and he comes up with an idea. Meanwhile, we see Lulu with Han as they discuss the Devil Elimination Assembly. Han reveals that he refused the invitation because he thinks it's a waste of time. Suddenly, a bright light grabs their attention, and they see Gong lying on the ground. Han thinks that he was attacked by a high-level devil, so he wants to form the Devil Elimination Assembly. When Shen learns about this, he gets upset, because their invitation was refused just a few days ago, so he thinks that Han just wants to be in the limelight himself. He sees Lin Fei wearing Gong's uniform, and Shen gets mad at him, calling him a traitor. As Han is taking care of Gong, a disciple informs him that they have guests, so he leaves to take care of them. Gong is worried about the demonic sect, because he knows that Han is preparing the Devil Elimination Assembly. He notices that someone is leaving sesame cakes at his window, and he sees Yuna, who tells him that she's sorry. Xiaoyu ponders about the two protagonists, Lin Fei and Gong, thinking he is doomed because he doesn't have a good relationship with either of them. At that moment, A strange lady named Sutian appears, and she introduces herself as the emissary of heaven, so she has the powers to go anywhere she is needed. Xiaoyu thinks she could be another protagonist, but Sutian suddenly clings to him, calling him the protagonist and begging for his help. Xiaoyu wonders how she knows the word protagonist. He tests her by singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and she also knows all the words, so he knows she was reincarnated just like him, and they instantly become friends. At the demonic sect, Yuna receives a mysterious letter, telling her to go to the Hall of the Devil King, promising her some sesame cakes, but we see Mumu, who watches her from behind. When she gets to the hall, she sees a number of bodies on the floor. They suddenly start moving, and they try to attack her, but she instantly blows them away. A shady figure calls out to her, thinking she is stronger than expected, but Yuna only cares about getting some sesame cakes. The shady figure claims that he was just testing her, as he snaps his finger, causing sesame cakes to appear. Yuna is overjoyed to see them, but thinks he must be up to something. But he tells her that she can have all of them, but she needs to take on a certain title. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu wonders why Sutian called him the protagonist, and she reveals that she has a system that allows her to see the protagonist and the storyline that they're in. Sutian informs him that Xiaoyu is the protagonist in 2 novels, but one of them is not popular among readers, because the plot is too boring. But Sutian says that both novels are very similar, so it's unclear which novel he is the protagonist of, so he still has a chance to appeal to the audience. Xiaoyu wonders how he can use the system to help himself, but Sutian claims that she is just the messenger, and the system is used by heaven to command her to do their bidding. She reveals that her role is just to guide worlds to the right endings, so she can earn points to eventually return to her own world. Sutian tells Xiaoyu he can only return to his world after the ending of the story, and this makes Xiaoyu depressed, because things don't end well for him. Sutian states that he can't tell anyone that he is from another world, because if he does, heaven will find a way to stop him. Xiaoyu doesn't believe her, so he tries to tell everyone that he isn't from that world, but before he can finish his statement, he gets struck by lightning. She tells him not to do it again, telling Xiaoyu to get up. But Xiaoyu starts acting weird, addressing her as his lover, and he has no idea what's going on. He grabs onto her, and Sutian becomes flustered. She reminds him that they are from another world, and they both get struck by lightning. Xiaoyu returns to his usual self, and Sutian warns him that he is not following the story that was set by heaven, since he was supposed to be the one to set up the Devil Elimination Assembly. Xiaoyu learns that Gong's injuries led to the assembly, and the target is the new Devil King. He thinks about who could be the new Devil King, when Yuna suddenly appears telling him that she has now assumed that title, causing Xiaoyu to worry for her and want to find a way to save her. We see Han on a flying ship, headed to the assembly. He checks up on Gong, who still hasn't fully recovered, but he joined them because he was worried for the other disciples. There is a commotion outside, and the disciples reveal there is an intruder on their ship. As Han leaves to find the intruder, Gong finds Xiaoyu hiding under his blanket. Xiaoyu claims that he used a magic weapon that made him move fast, but this was the only place he could find to hide. Gong locks the door, and he asks Xiaoyu what he's doing there. Meanwhile, the disciples are still searching for him, but they can't find him, and Han calls them trash. He uses his inner vision, allowing him to sense the chi of everyone on the ship, and after looking around, he realizes that there is someone in the room with Gong. Xiaoyu asks Gong if he can help stop the Devil Elimination Assembly, but suddenly, Han knocks at the door, asking Gong if he is okay. He tries to hide Xiaoyu, but Han knows that he is there, so he warns Xiaoyu to stay away from Gong. Gong explains that Xiaoyu is not a bad person, and that he is his friend, but Han is convinced that all devils are evil, even calling him a coward for hiding. Gong tells him to stop, saying that he should not say anything bad about his friend. So Han decides to let him go, warning Xiaoyu that he will go after him if he hurts Gong. As Han leaves, Gong's body gets weaker, because he was protecting Xiaoyu from Han's aura. They continue their discussion, and Gong tells him that Han is the only person who can stop the assembly, so Xiaoyu wants to talk to him, but it's too dangerous since Han really wants to destroy the devil that injured Gong. Xiaoyu informs him that Yuna is now the Devil King, so he is worried about her. He thinks that Han would listen to Gong since he really cares about him, so Xiaoyu asks Gong to bring him to the assembly, where he can act as a hostage. Gong thinks that he could die, but Xiaoyu trusts Gong with his life, and is convinced that he will not die so easily because he is the protagonist. At the assembly, we see Lin Fei and Zhao walking through the crowd. They come across some disciples that mock them, because the Carefree sect used to be the strongest, but now Xiaoyu left the sect to become a devil, and laughing at their sect for only sending 2 disciples. Lin Fei throws water on them, threatening to end them, so the disciples charge at him, but they are stopped by a girl, who introduces herself as Quen, the second disciple of the Cloud sect. The disciples have never heard of her, which makes her annoyed, and the disciples charge at her, but she easily dodges their attacks, before using her robe to throw them away. The people gather to watch their fight, and the disciples try to attack her again, but they are suddenly restrained, and Han makes his entrance, telling the disciples that Quen could easily destroy them. Everyone recognizes Han, and we learn that he is actually a genius who is already in the heavenly stage, but he's known as a playboy. He intends on personally handling the demonic sect, and all the other disciples agree to follow his plan. Lin Fei wonders why Han is the leader of the assembly, because in his past life, Xiaoyu was the leader, so he should have been the replacement. Han suddenly approaches him, thinking he is a girl, and inviting him for dinner. Lin Fei gets furious, saying he is not a girl, and tries to attack Han, but he misses. Han tells him that if he can touch him, he can become the leader of the assembly, but Lin Fei can't seem to land a hit on him. Lin Fei wonders if Xiaoyu beat Han to become the leader in his past life, while Han wonders if he is even serious, telling him to try his best with his next move. Lin Fei activates his Aqua Sword skill, impressing everyone because he is only at the fortification stage. He charges at Han as he launches water projectiles, but Han easily evades them, and he wonders if that's all Lin Fei can do. But Lin Fei transforms his projectiles, preventing Han from escaping as he attacks him with a combo of slashes, causing an explosion. Everyone is shocked that Lin Fei was able to land a hit when Han is at the heavenly stage. But Han suddenly appears behind Lin Fei, calling him slow, as he summons his vines that push Lin Fei back. Lin Fei thinks he could die if the skill hits him, so he wonders if Han is trying to kill him. He ends up getting hit, and Han uses his vines to restrain him. Han can tell that Lin Fei is hiding his true power, so he attempts to force him to reveal it, but lightning strikes, and Lin Fei is saved by Gong. Han wonders why he's there, because he's supposed to be resting, but Gong claims that he's just out getting some fresh air, and he asks Han to leave Lin Fei to him, and Gong carries him away to his room, where Xiaoyu is waiting. Lin Fei gets upset, because Xiaoyu isn't following the storyline, but Gong suddenly throws him to the ground as he loses strength. Gong reveals that Xiaoyu asked him to save Lin Fei, and Xiaoyu claims that he wants to make peace among all sects, but Lin Fei thinks that devils won't be able to make peace. Gong promises to protect Xiaoyu, but Lin Fei points out that he is in no condition to do so. He challenges Gong to a fight, wanting to see if he can protect Xiaoyu, because given his current condition, he won't be able to stop the assembly, and Xiaoyu is going to die. But Xiaoyu tells him that he wants to save Yuna, and that he is no longer afraid of dying, because he says he is the protagonist, and Lin Fei is surprised, seeing how much Xiaoyu has changed. He tells Xiaoyu not to leave the room, thinking about how things went in his previous life, but Xiaoyu refuses, saying that he needs to save Yuna. But Lin Fei stabs him from behind. Xiaoyu falls to the ground, but Lin Fei knows it's not enough to kill him. He claims that he only did it to force Xiaoyu to listen, and he tells Gong to give Xiaoyu an elixir of vigor. Xiaoyu refuses it, saying that it is a precious item, but Lin Fei insists that he take it, revealing that it can bring people back to life, so he might need it later on. Xiaoyu worries about Yuna and Mei, but Lin Fei assures him that he'll take care of them. Meanwhile, Zhao is surrounded by disciples from the largest sect, who are treating him like a kid. But Lin Fei returns, and he sees the disciples, remembering how those disciples harmed him in his past life, so he tells Zhao to stay away from them. At that moment, Sutian arrives, telling everyone that destiny is unstoppable, and this grabs Lin Fei's attention. Xiaoyu is still in the room, as he refuses to use the elixir, when suddenly, he sees Mumu running outside with 2 cloaked men, so he decides to chase after them. Han gives Sutian some flowers, asking her to spend the night with him. Everyone is shocked by his behavior, but Lin Fei decides to leave, as he finds Han's behavior shameful. Lin Fei looks for Xiaoyu in the room, but he isn't there. He thinks about how Xiaoyu never listens to him no matter what, and a voice tells him to destroy Xiaoyu. Mumu arrives at his destination, thinking that he will finally become a real devil. We learn that he is after Sutian, but the two cloaked men suddenly launch an attack, causing a huge explosion that grabs everyone's attention. Mumu asks his companions about the plan to take Sutian, but they disappear, and Xiaoyu catches up to him, reprimanding him for attacking the assembly. Mumu tells Xiaoyu that he did it to become a real devil, but they get attacked by the other disciples, so Xiaoyu uses his artifact, allowing them to escape with haste. The disciples lose sight of them, but they eventually run into Han and Quen. Quen wants to stop him, but Han points out that Xiaoyu is using a magic artifact, so she won't be able to stop him even if she tries. Xiaoyu promises to explain the situation as he disappears before their eyes. Han states that they have crossed the line, so he is now determined to attack the Devil Sect. They set up camp, and Quen finds the situation weird, because they discovered the location of the Devil Sect around the same time they were attacked. Han visits the nearby town, and he notices that everyone looks so happy despite being surrounded by devils, so he thinks that it must be a trap. Back at the Devil Sect, Xiaoyu locks Mumu in a room, telling him to think about what he's done. Xiaoyu knows that the location of their sect has been exposed, so he decides to look for his master. He sees Yuna with Mei, and he suggests hiding the disciples as he tells them about the situation. Meanwhile, Gong persistently follows Lin Fei around, which makes him annoyed, telling Gong that he won't run. But Gong promised Han to keep an eye on him, since Han finds him suspicious since he is connected to Xiaoyu. That evening, Han walks around the town, and Xiaoyu appears before him. He notices that Xiaoyu is still at the fortification stage, so he wonders how he became the eldest brother of his sect. Xiaoyu claims that he is just there to talk about the situation, but Han doesn't appear to be interested. He uses his skill to form a throne made of vines, and he proceeds to attack Xiaoyu. Meanwhile, Yuna and the other disciples are hiding in a cave. The ground starts shaking, and they realize a fight is going on, but Xiaoyu gave them the order to just wait it out. Back in the camp, Gong reveals that he has an agreement with Xiaoyu, but he refuses to tell Lin Fei about it, so he gets upset thinking that Xiaoyu is up to something. At that moment, the ground shakes, and they see an explosion in the town, so Lin Fei and Gong rush there, thinking that something happened to Xiaoyu. But Queen uses her blinding speed to stop them, saying that they can't leave the camp without her permission. Lin Fei tries to fight her with his aqua sword skill, but she just kicks him away. A disciple suddenly attacks her from behind, challenging Quen to a fight, but she immediately gets knocked down by a combo. The other disciples refuse to listen to her, but she shows them Han's token, and Lin Fei realizes that Xiaoyu must have used that token to lead the assembly in his past life. Quen tells everyone that Han doesn't want people to leave the camp, because they have a traitor who is leaking information about the assembly. So she orders everyone to report any suspicious people who are connected to devils, and everyone starts pointing their fingers at Lin Fei. He hears a voice in his head, telling him that the people in the camp don't deserve to live, and he becomes filled with killing intent. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu remains unharmed, and he claims that the Devil King is not in the town. But Han thinks he is lying, so he attacks again, but Xiaoyu manages to evade all of his attacks. Han suddenly stops attacking, saying that he remembers Xiaoyu as the child who failed over 10 years ago. Xiaoyu is confused by what he is saying, but Han reveals they are actually part of the same family. Since Xiaoyu was reincarnated at the Carefree sect, he knew nothing about his family. He points out how he already severed all ties with his family, but Han says that only the head of the family can decide that, revealing that he is the head of the family, and Xiaoyu is terrified. He knows he is at a disadvantage, since Han is already at the heavenly stage. He relies on the magical artifact to dodge the attacks, but eventually gets caught and restrained by Han's vines. Han asks him how he led Gong astray, claiming that the devils have long coveted him since he possesses the lightning spirit root, so he attacks, wanting to kill Xiaoyu. But Xiaoyu somehow manages to escape. Han wonders why Xiaoyu is not fighting back, asking him what kind of weapon he uses to fight. He continues to attack Xiaoyu with his vines, causing Xiaoyu to fall to the ground and lose consciousness. Han approaches him, telling Xiaoyu not to disappoint him, because he was expecting the fight to last longer. Xiaoyu regains consciousness, and he pulls out a talisman, telling Han that he doesn't use swords. In a flashback, we see Xiaoyu riding on a talisman as Chen orders him to practice. But Xiaoyu claims that he just thought of a new trick, so he writes it down. Chen realizes that Xiaoyu has a talent for it, but tells him that the Carefree sect can't help him with spell cultivation. Xiaoyu claims that he just makes talismans for fun, wanting to learn more about spell cultivation, but Chen thinks that Xiaoyu is trying to come up with an excuse to stop training. Back in the present, Han attacks with his vines, but Xiaoyu creates a shield to protect himself. Han realizes that Xiaoyu uses spell cultivation, but he wonders how Xiaoyu will be able to survive without fighting back. Xiaoyu claims that he just wants to talk, because there has been a misunderstanding between them. However, Han doesn't appear to be interested, saying that he wants to know what kind of person Xiaoyu is, since he used to be one of them, but now he joined the devil sect. So he thinks that Xiaoyu must be up to something, but Xiaoyu says that he only wants peace. Han starts walking towards Xiaoyu, exuding his aura, which pushes Xiaoyu back. In the cave, the disciples begin to struggle, and Yuna realizes that Xiaoyu is in danger, so she runs off to find him. Xiaoyu continues to struggle against Han, who thinks Xiaoyu's shield is too weak. He admits that his shield is nothing to Han, making Han think that Xiaoyu has given up, but he still has one move up his sleeves. The surrounding area suddenly starts glowing, as Xiaoyu sets up a powerful barrier around them. The disciples in the camp see the barrier, and they immediately recognize it as a devil's skill, thinking that the devils are up to no good. Lin Fei thinks Xiaoyu set up the barrier because he's in danger, so he wants to go and save him. But Gong wants to go instead, so they begin to argue. Quinn suddenly attacks them, telling them that they can't leave, but Gong tells her to back off. Han is brought to his knees, and he asks Xiaoyu if he killed the people in the surrounding area, because he needs to either control or kill them in order to use this technique. Xiaoyu tries to explain, but Han calls him a liar. Han wonders why he's still alive, since the technique should be strong enough to kill him, but Xiaoyu reiterates that he just wants to talk. He thinks he is getting through to him, but Han calls him naive, as a vine appears behind him. The vine attacks, and Xiaoyu manages to block it just in time, but he wonders how Han was able to attack inside the barrier. Han moves, as Xiaoyu's control over him has weakened. Han calls him a genius, but says he lost because he didn't fight seriously. His friends make their way towards him, but Xiaoyu is impaled and killed by the vines. Xiaoyu falls to the ground, and Han thinks it's all over, but the villagers suddenly appear and mourn for Xiaoyu because he was always good to them. They get angry at Han for killing Xiaoyu, and they throw things at him to drive him away. Back in the camp, Quinn receives a message that Xiaoyu is dead, so Quinn thinks that they now have the advantage, because Xiaoyu was the only one who could use the devil barrier technique. Quinn sends a messenger bird to Han, and she uses it to communicate with him. She informs him that Gong and Lin Fei are on their way to the town, saying that she couldn't stop them. She had ordered all the disciples to stop them, but they combined their powers, as Gong used his lightning to strengthen Lin Fei's aqua sword skill, and they used it to force their way out of the camp. Quinn notices the villagers behind Han, wanting to know what's happening, but Han tells her it's none of her business. Lin Fei and Gong fly to the village, while Han wants to take Xiaoyu's body, but it has been covered by the crowd. He starts to think that the crowd is being controlled by the devil sect, so he thinks about how to pacify them. Gong suddenly arrives, and Han asks him how he came from the sky, and we see Lin Fei who dropped him down. Lin Fei leaves to look for Xiaoyu, and Gong apologizes for letting Lin Fei escape from the camp. He asks what happened at the town, and Han tells him that he killed Xiaoyu, which is a shock for him to hear. In the cave, Mei is worried about Xiaoyu, so she decides to go after him as well. We see Xiaoyu in a strange place, and he seems to have found his way into the system. A message appears stating that the hero is dead, and the system starts looking for another hero as his replacement. Xiaoyu thinks it's all over for him, but there is suddenly an error message that appears before him, and he wakes up in his room, where he sees Su Tian. He asks Su Tian if he's dead, but she just slaps him, telling him that he just did something dangerous, and that she'd lose a lot of points if he died. Su Tian reveals that she used her power to take his body, thinking that he has died, but he somehow started breathing again after the system error appeared. Gong reminds Han that Xiaoyu is his friend, but Han thinks that Gong could have been under Xiaoyu's spell, but Gong gets angry, almost hitting him with lightning and destroying the house behind him. Han notes that Gong purposely missed, and Gong apologizes for his outburst. He leaves to find Xiaoyu, because he is not convinced that he is already dead, and says that if he is dead, he will take care of Yuna in Xiaoyu's place. Han warns him that he will be branded as a traitor, but Gong claims it is the right thing to do, reminding Han that was a lesson he taught him. A disciple informs Han that the location of the Devil Sect has been confirmed, and that their forces should be able to take them out. The villagers continue to yell at him, so Han traps them with his skill, telling the disciple to keep watch while he goes to the Devil Sect on his own. While flying, Lin Fei hears the people in the camp shouting about Xiaoyu's death, but he refuses to believe it. He thinks about where Xiaoyu could be, so he remembers where he went during his past life. In a flashback, we see Lin Fei in the Devil Sect headquarters as Xiaoyu approaches him. He wants to have another drink with Xiaoyu, but Xiaoyu refuses, saying he has killed people and injured Gong, pulling out his sword. Back in the present, Lin Fei flies to the headquarters, hoping to see Xiaoyu there. Xiaoyu tells Sutian what happened, and Sutian reminds him that he almost died, but Xiaoyu claims that the protagonist should never die. Sutian becomes furious, because instead of following the plot, he chose to fight Han, who is revealed to be the only person capable of killing him. Xiaoyu wants to know the purpose of being a protagonist, and Sutian reveals that it is to keep more people alive, so Xiaoyu thinks that his role is the anti-hero that may need to sacrifice some people to save the many. Sutian tells him that changes have occurred in the world, so the story can now go in different directions, but he has to be the hero to make it happen. They suddenly notice a commotion, and Sutian leaves to check it out, warning Xiaoyu to avoid confronting Han. Xiaoyu thinks about how powerful Han is, knowing he has no chance, but he is happy because hiding from him shouldn't be too difficult. But at that moment, vines suddenly appear, and Han enters the room. Xiaoyu immediately runs away, but Han uses his vines to restrain him. Xiaoyu thinks he's going to die, and he cries for help. Lin Fei arrives at the main hall, and he finds it odd because it is still so peaceful, while in his past life, this place was the center of the battle. Sutian reveals herself, telling him to wait there, as the person he wants to see will soon meet him. She returns to Xiaoyu's room, but sees the vines. She uses the system to see what's going on, and we see Xiaoyu struggling to break out of the vines. Han wonders why he's still alive, so he starts searching him, wanting to know what secrets he is hiding. Sutian uses the system to speak to Xiaoyu, telling him that she'll find a way to rescue him, so he should try not to provoke Han into killing him, but he accidentally stabs him with his ornament. Xiaoyu thinks he's going to die, but Han just returns the ornament to him. He continues to search Xiaoyu, and he finds the magic artifact he used to enhance his speed. Han thinks that Xiaoyu could have used it to revive himself, so he decides to keep it. Han unleashes his aura, and Xiaoyu falls to his knees. Xiaoyu wonders why he's being tortured, and Han says he doesn't deserve a quick death, asking Xiaoyu why he didn't use his demonic skills while he was being searched. Xiaoyu is powerless, but Sutian informs him that Lin Fei is waiting for him at the main hall, and she will grant him power to help him escape. Xiaoyu suddenly recalls the artifact, and uses the power given to him by Sutian. Han attempts to restrain Xiaoyu once again, claiming that ordinary fire can't destroy his vines, but Xiaoyu burns through them. Xiaoyu is able to defend himself against Han, burning the vines as they come, and he manages to escape from his room. Han wants to pursue him, but Sutian gets in his way, telling him that he will have to kill her first. Yuna walks around the town looking for Xiaoyu, but she encounters Quen and the other disciples. They ask her who she is, and she introduces herself as the Devil King, so they start to attack her, but she easily evades them. Yuna remembers how Xiaoyu told her not to hurt others, so she leaves them alone, but they continue to pursue her, relentlessly attacking her with their skills. Xiaoyu reaches Lin Fei, who is happy to see him because he's still alive, but Lin Fei suddenly attacks him, wanting to kill him with his own hands. And we learn that Lin Fei's inner demon has taken control of his body. Xiaoyu evades his attacks, telling Lin Fei to come to his senses, but Lin Fei continues to attack him. Xiaoyu struggles since he already spent his energy running away from Han, and Lin Fei destroys a huge rock, obscuring Xiaoyu's vision while he charges at him. At that moment, Mei arrives, seeing Lin Fei as he charges at Xiaoyu, so she tries to stop him, but she ends up getting stabbed in the process. Lin Fei realizes what he has done, thinking that nothing has changed from his past life. Meanwhile, Quen continues to chase Yuna, while a disciple asks her about her elder named Ren, claiming that Yuna would have been caught by now if he was with them. Quinn tells him that Ren was part of the assembly, but he left after telling her that they need to defend their rear. Back in the Carefree sect, we see Ren with Chen, as Ren suggests focusing on defense, but Chen tells him to go away, saying that they don't need his help. At that moment, he senses that something happened to Mei, so he wants to go to her, but Ren stops him, saying that someone needs to guard the sect. A disciple runs to them, informing them that demons have appeared, and the barrier is about to be destroyed. Chen can't stop thinking about his daughter, but Zhao appears, telling Chen that he can look for Mei while he guards the sect. In a flashback, we see a young Chen, as his parents leave the sect for a devil elimination mission. But while they were gone, the devils attack the sect, setting it on fire as the disciples panic. Back in the present, Chen doesn't want to see it happen again, so he decides to stay at the sect, and Ren sends a bird to look for Mei. Lin Fei falls to his knees, and Xiaoyu pulls out the elixir of vigor. They give it to Mei, as Xiaoyu thinks that Lin Fei still hates him, because his inner demon is still clinging to the past. However, the elixir appears to have no effect on Mei, and Lin Fei starts to fear the worst, begging her to wake up. He is afraid that nothing can stop his destiny, where Mei and Yuna die, just like they did in his past life. He cries as he starts blaming Xiaoyu, claiming that things will only change if he dies. Xiaoyu tells him to go ahead. But Lin Fei realizes that Xiaoyu is not the same person that he was during his past life, so he resists his inner demon. He tells his inner demon to shut up, making it disappear, and he reveals that he wants to kill Xiaoyu, because it is the only way to escape the tragedies of the past. He prepares to strike down Xiaoyu, but he gets interrupted as the ceiling breaks, causing rocks to fall. Xiaoyu realizes that he can't die at the hands of Lin Fei, and he sees Gong, who is overjoyed to see him. Meanwhile, we see that Han's sect is under attack, and we see the shady figure as he prepares to invade the sect, removing his cloak, revealing that he is Zeke, the head of the sky-breaking sect. Gong reprimands Lin Fei for attacking Xiaoyu, but Lin Fei just tells him to save Mei, so he uses his heavenly eye to check her condition. At that moment, Yuna arrives, and she goes straight to Mei to check up on her. She learns that Lin Fei injured Mei, so she slaps him, and he starts crying as he apologizes. Mei's body suddenly gets wrapped in ice, and Gong states that Mei is different from most people, so the elixir doesn't work on her, and that he froze her body to stabilize her condition while they look for a doctor. Lin Fei notices that Yuna is injured, and Xiaoyu finds it strange that they could hurt her, even though she is in the celestial stage. They suddenly get attacked, as Quinn orders the disciples to destroy the Devil King. Meanwhile, we see Lulu having tea with a disciple, and they talk about the Carefree sect, talking about how it used to be strong, but they became weaker after it was attacked by the devils during the last devil elimination mission. Lulu says that they were targeted in the last mission because they were leading it, so she thinks that their sect could also be attacked, because they are now leading the mission, but she is confident they are safe because of their barrier, and we see Zeke who tries to break through with his magic, claiming that they stole his treasure. Yuna shields the group, saying that she will protect them, but Lin Fei despairs as he thinks that Yuna and Mei are destined to die. But Gong decides to go against destiny, saying that he doesn't believe in it. Meanwhile, Sutian and Han also talk about destiny. Han also doesn't believe in destiny, saying that he can get what he wants by going against it. He asks Sutian about the Chosen One, because during every important event, she is meant to choose a person, but he wonders why she never mentioned anything during this devil elimination assembly. He knows that Xiaoyu is the Chosen One, because she keeps appearing whenever something happens to him, and she realizes that she made a mistake, since Han isn't supposed to know that Xiaoyu is the Chosen One. Han uses his vines to restrain Sutian, but he decides not to kill her, because the world still needs a messenger. But he hopes to change destiny by holding her. Gong steps forward to confront Quinn, but Xiaoyu stops him, trying to explain that Yuna is not evil, but the disciples refuse to listen, thinking he's up to no good, so they attack him with their skills. However, Gong defends him, and he asks them why they won't hear Xiaoyu out. Yuna pulls out Gong's sword, thinking they are after her because she was the one who hurt Gong, so she decides to suffer the same way, hoping to end the grudge. But Quinn orders the disciples to attack. Gong and Xiaoyu defend themselves, calling the disciples hypocrites for taking advantage of Yuna's injury. Quinn attacks Gong, reminding him how many people the Devil Sect killed in the past, and she manages to push him back. Gong retaliates, using his lightning, and he decides to fight seriously since Qin won't listen to him. Qin gets serious, and the other disciples help her fight against Gong. Gong tries to convince her that Xiaoyu and Yuna are not evil, but she refuses to believe him. Yuna asks Xiaoyu if they're fighting because of her, and she reminds Xiaoyu that he taught her not to fight unless she is attacked. But she tells Xiaoyu not to worry, as a bright light shines from her hand. She releases a ball of light, and it multiplies in midair, shocking everyone. The orbs radiate with energy, pushing Qin and the other disciples away, as the orbs break, revealing some mysterious treasures. The disciples set up a barrier to defend themselves, while Qin charges, exchanging blows with Gong and jumping toward Yuna. Xiaoyu defends her with a barrier, while Yuna attacks Qin with flying swords, which she narrowly dodges. Qin recognizes the swords as legendary weapons, and she feels a tremendous power that manages to break the other disciples' barrier, bringing them to their knees. Han can sense Yuna's aura, knowing that his allies are having a hard time against her, but he decides to let Qin handle her, so she has to earn the fame that she's after. In a flashback, we see Qin training with her father. She struggles to meet her family's expectations, because she is the heiress of the god of war. We learn that her parents were killed when their sect was attacked by demons, causing people to think that her sect was finished. So her whole life was about trying to prove to the world that she is a worthy successor to her sect. Back in the present, Qin musters her willpower to get back up, impressing the other disciples who think that Yuna is about to kill her. But Yuna approaches her, promising not to kill anyone and wanting to make peace. Meanwhile, Zeke manages to destroy the barrier of Han's sect, making the disciples panic as they attempt to inform Han. Zeke is about to enter the sect, but Lulu appears before him, and she notices that Zeke is already at the celestial stage. However, she appears to be confident that she can defend the sect against him, since she is above him at the immortal stage. Zeke summons a cloud, preparing to fight her, as Sutian senses their battle, saying that it is destiny. Back in the Devil sect, Qin agrees to make peace, under the conditions that Yuna steps down as the Devil King, and that they hand over Xiaoyu, because she doesn't want to return empty-handed. Xiaoyu thinks that the real Devil King could harm Yuna if she steps down, so he suggests going against the first condition, but Yuna casually steps down as the Devil King, saying that she doesn't need the title. However, she refuses to hand Xiaoyu over, because he is her disciple. Qin doesn't want to return empty-handed, so she strikes the ground with her fist, and the impact scatters Yuna's treasures. Seeing an opening, the disciples combine their powers, and use a technique that chains Yuna to the ground. They try to restrain Xiaoyu, but Gong protects him, saying that Xiaoyu isn't a demon. In a flashback, we see Xiaoyu when he first started learning devil cultivation. He tells Yuna that he can't become a demon, and Yuna doesn't want to force him. She wonders if he will go back to his sect when they escape, but he says he will stay with her since he has already accepted her as his master, which makes her happy. We learn that he was just pretending to be a demon to avoid trouble at the Devil sect, and to play a trick on Lin Fei, but Gong and Han already know the truth, because of their heavenly eye technique. Sutian wonders why Han wants to kill Xiaoyu, even though he isn't a demon, but Han says that he doesn't trust Xiaoyu, even seeing him as a threat. Lin Fei is surprised to learn that Xiaoyu is not a demon, wondering how he escaped from the canyon, and we learn that Xiaoyu actually has more talent than Lin Fei, although he is always slacking off. Lin Fei gets angry, as his inner demon takes over, revealing that he wanted Xiaoyu to become a demon, so he can take him out. He thinks that Xiaoyu has taken everything from him, and we learn from Han that if it wasn't for Xiaoyu, Lin Fei would have been adopted into his family, and he would have been the senior brother of the Carefree sect. Han suddenly receives news that his sect is being attacked by Zeke, and he suddenly feels a disturbance, as Sutian tells him that he can't escape destiny. She breaks free from his vines, and a gate appears behind her. Han tries to follow her, but he is stopped by two mysterious girls. As she walks away, she tells Han to stop fighting destiny and attend to his emergency, warning him that he will be crushed if he goes against destiny again. Han decides to return to his sect, sending a messenger bird to Qin to tell her that she can do as she sees fit. Zeke attacks one of Lulu's disciples, but she uses a shield to protect him. Zeke realizes that she uses spells, and that the barrier he destroyed was her work, making him think that she isn't that strong. Lulu starts flying, facing Zeke, as she calls forth 5 magical flags that are each surrounded by talismans. Zeke attacks with lightning, but Lulu blocks it with her barriers. He complements her defense, but he summons his dark puppets, ordering them to join his forces as they attack the sect. As the disciples fight down below, Lulu says that she won't fight back, but pulls out a token that can summon other immortals, claiming that Zeke won't be able to withstand a single attack from them. Zeke thinks she is bluffing, so he attacks with his lightning, but it has no effect on her, and she starts shining brightly as a pillar of light pierces the sky. Lin Fei's inner demon has completely taken control of his body, but he suddenly stops exuding his aura, and he wraps himself in ice. Xiaoyu breaks through the ice, telling Lin Fei not to give up, but he says that it's too late, because his demon core has already been formed. He thanks Xiaoyu, as a dark cloud appears, and their enemies recognize it as a conquering cloud. Lin Fei is about to get hit by its lightning, but Xiaoyu blocks it with his barrier. The disciples notice that Lin Fei now has a demonic core, so they want to capture him along with Xiaoyu. Quinn receives Han's message, and she is free to do whatever she wants, so she orders the disciples to capture Xiaoyu and Lin Fei, but Gong gets in their way, saying that Xiaoyu is innocent. Quinn calls him stubborn as she charges at him. They start fighting, while Quinn calls him ridiculous for protecting demons while his sect is under attack. Xiaoyu comes up with a plan, and he orders Gong to save Yuna. Gong uses his speed to move past Quinn and save Yuna, but the other disciples charge at Xiaoyu, who uses a talisman to blow them away, while columns of light appear around them. The disciples know that they are about to teleport away, and they want to stop him, but suddenly, they sense another demon in the celestial stage. They see huge demon arms, so Quinn orders the disciples to prepare for battle, and we learn that the arms actually belong to Molly. Molly notices that her sister has become weak, so she starts laughing. One of the disciples tries to hit her with an arrow, but it gets blocked, and Molly tries to crush him. Quinn defends him, trying to lift the arm away, but she quickly gets pushed back. Molly ferociously attacks the other disciples, and they start running away, but Quinn stands her ground and saves her allies. One disciple suggests retreating, but Quinn says she will deal with Molly. She charges at Molly, evading her attacks and trying to punch her face. But Molly blocks her attack, launching a counterattack, which Quinn manages to evade. She is able to keep up with Molly for a while, but she eventually gets blown away. Quinn struggles to get up, and Molly continues to attack her. She orders the disciples to retreat, but eventually, her barrier breaks and she gets injured. Molly is about to finish her off, but Gong and Xiaoyu save her, saying that they want to clear their names. Meanwhile, at Han's sect, light falls from the sky, illuminating the area and causing an immortal named Pai to appear. The disciples celebrate, knowing that he is the god of war, but Zeke's forces continue to attack. Zeke appears to be intimidated, but he knows that immortals will disappear if they interfere with the mortal world. Zeke summons thousands of dark puppets to attack Pai, claiming that they are indestructible, but Pai destroys all of them with a single attack. Zeke summons even more puppets as he insists on entering the sect. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu claims that he doesn't want Quinn to die, but she still thinks that he's up to no good. Molly charges at them, but they manage to evade her attacks, and we see Lin Fei holding onto Yuna, as the barrier protects them from the lightning. Yuna uses an artifact to strengthen the barrier, but Lin Fei tells her to just let him die because his soul has changed. Yuna slaps him, telling him that it's okay, so he starts crying as he apologizes for failing to control himself, afraid things will end up like they did in the past. However, Yuna helps him realize that the events in his past life are different from the ones happening in the present, and she gives him an outfit to protect him from his new ice core. Meanwhile, the duo struggles against Molly as she continues to attack them. Xiaoyu wonders how Molly became so powerful, and Gong points out the treasure on her waist, the spider ribbon. Quinn thinks that they should destroy it. Gong attacks with his lightning, but it has no effect on her. Molly fires a powerful beam from her mouth, destroying their surroundings and causing rocks to fall. However, she notices some talismans flying past her, and she realizes that she is surrounded. Xiaoyu uses a powerful binding spell that chains her to the ground. Molly struggles to break the chains, and she is completely immobilized. Seeing an opportunity, Quinn and Gong attack her, causing an explosion, but when the dust clears, she is still alive, and she decides to get serious. Molly absorbs energy from the disciples, giving her the power to break the chains. Gong strikes her with his lightning, but it gets absorbed as well, and she takes on a more menacing appearance. Quinn knows that they can't hurt her, so Xiaoyu tries to protect them with a powerful barrier, but Molly attacks, and it begins to crack. But just as the barrier is about to break, she gets hit by lightning from the conquering cloud, causing her to scream in pain. Lin Fei joins the fight, saying that they should make the cloud hit her. Meanwhile, Pai continues to destroy Zeke's dark puppets, but he just keeps summoning more of them, and Pai notices that Zeke has disappeared. As he continues to destroy the puppets, Lulu thinks that something is wrong, and Pai ends up hitting Zeke, who is hiding inside a puppet. But he suddenly starts laughing, saying that Pai has touched him, which causes Pai to get recalled by destiny, because he just interfered in the mortal world. Pai disappears, as Zeke summons more puppets, overwhelming the sect. Lulu feels like she needs to do something, but since she is in the immortal phase, all she's supposed to do is watch. However, lightning starts to appear from the sky, and Zeke wonders if she is going to fight, but at that moment, vines start appearing from the ground, impaling the puppets as Han joins the battle. The disciples are relieved to see Han, and he tells Lulu to leave things to him. He uses his vines to approach Zeke, and Han seems to know about Zeke's plan, since he knows that Yuna was dragged into the conflict as a distraction. Zeke attacks him, but Han dodges and counters with his vines, calling Zeke the real Devil King. Back in the Devil sect, the cloud continues to strike Molly since she is the biggest target. Lin Fei runs around Molly, freezing her legs, but after struggling for a moment, she is able to break free. Quinn lands a kick on her, and Molly immediately counters, but Xiaoyu shields Quinn with his skill. The group is having a hard time, but Gong thinks that he can use the cloud's lightning, so he uses his sword to absorb it and redirects it against Molly. Molly screams, while Gong strikes one of her legs, causing it to crumble. They see the spider ribbon, and Gong aims his lightning at the item, but it causes Molly to become enraged. Molly starts swinging wildly, causing damage to their surrounding, and Lin Fei notices Yuna trying to use one of her magical artifacts. Molly charges at Yuna, while Lin Fei chases after her, using an aqua skill that freezes one of her legs, causing her to stumble. But Molly breaks her frozen leg and continues forward, but Gong attacks her, stopping her movements. Molly perseveres, going straight for her sister, trying to break her barrier as she opens up about her insecurities since she is the older sister, but Yuna has always been more talented. Yuna's barrier is broken, and Molly is about to finish her off, but Lin Fei pushes her away as lightning hits both of them. They fall to the ground, and Molly's spider body crumbles, but she starts giving off a dark aura. Gong thinks that she is absorbing energy, but Yuna walks to her and hugs her, telling her that she wants to stop fighting. Yuna is willing to step down as the head of the sect and let her take over. Molly remembers how close they were back when they were kids. As she holds onto Yuna, she says it's too late, but she wants Yuna to stay with her. However, it is revealed that Molly is planning to self-destruct. Back at Han's sect, the two are still fighting, and Zeke is able to hit Han with his lightning, causing him to crash into a building. While he's down, Zeke continues to attack him, but Quinn suddenly arrives to save him. Meanwhile, at the Carefree sect, Chen struggles against the Devil disciples, and they mock him because he isn't as strong as the leaders of the other sects. They try to finish him off, but he uses his aqua technique to fight back. He stabs one of them, but they hold him in place, so he uses one hand to defend himself from the other attackers. The man refuses to let go, ordering his companions to finish him off, but Ren interferes, instantly pushing them back. After a while, they manage to take out all the Devil disciples, but Ren receives news that his sect is also under attack. Back at Han's sect, he wonders if Quinn's business with the Devil sect is over, and Quinn claims that it has already been taken care of. Quinn charges at Zeke with great speed, but he manages to block her attack. At that moment, Xiaoyu arrives in chains, and we learn that, 15 minutes ago, Yuna refused to die with Molly because she didn't want to abandon her disciples. So Molly tried to imprison her in a black sphere, but Xiaoyu manages to throw a talisman at her, and he uses a technique to trap Molly, while Gong and Lin Fei pull Yuna out. Molly explodes inside of Xiaoyu's trap, but it is not strong enough to contain Molly's powers. As it is about to explode, Quinn runs forward, as she suddenly starts to glow, and she blows it away. Quinn explains that she only saved them so they could be held accountable for their actions. But Xiaoyu tries to negotiate, saying they are allies after fighting together against Molly. Quinn plans to assist Han's sect, and Xiaoyu offers to teleport them there using his skill. Han learns about the situation, as Xiaoyu explains that he is there to act as a hostage, while Gong is still at the Devil's Sect to keep Yuna safe, but he will join them soon. Quinn is able to fight with Zeke on equal footing, but neither of them are able to hurt the other. Han decides to help her out, ordering Xiaoyu's guards to take him somewhere else. Xiaoyu is terrified, thinking that Han could still kill him in the middle of the fight, but he decides to hide somewhere safe so he doesn't cause any trouble. Meanwhile, Gong treats Yuna's wounds, while Lin Fei realizes that his inner demon takes the form of whatever he fears most. He used to fear being a demon, but now he realizes that he fears Xiaoyu. Yuna calls out to him, as she appears to be fine now, telling him that he looks great in her uniform. But he still remembers how he suffered in his past life while wearing that outfit. Yuna notices that the outfit is bothering him, so she helps him change it, and tells him to go back to the Carefree sect where he can get some rest. Han and Quinn are still fighting against Zeke, but not even their combined strength can hurt Zeke. Zeke tries to attack them with his skill, but they set up a barrier, and they consume an elixir that enhances their powers. Lulu watches their battle from a distance, but she receives a report that their treasure house has been attacked, so she goes to check it out. We see the demons attacking the treasure house, but they can't seem to break through the barrier. Lulu sees Xiaoyu helping the disciples by setting up the barrier, and this catches her attention, because she thought that nobody had the talent for practicing spells anymore. Quinn charges at Zeke, punching through his skill, but he counters with his dark puppets, managing to knock her back. Zeke claims that they are no match for him, so they should just surrender. But they choose to fight on, as Xiaoyu watches them from a distance. Lulu approaches Xiaoyu, asking him why he's helping their sect, and he claims that he's just doing it to survive. Lulu puts a talisman behind Xiaoyu, as she wonders why he isn't running away, and he reveals that he just wants to save everyone. She thinks that he's a hypocrite, but Xiaoyu states that being good or evil is subjective, so he just wants to save whoever he can. Lulu takes a liking to him, so she removes her talisman, and she orders the disciples to unchain him. Lulu tells the disciples to retreat if they can't hold the barrier, because she's going to take Xiaoyu with her to fortify their defenses. She grabs onto Xiaoyu and flies with him. While in midair, Lulu reveals that she is also bound by destiny, so she'll be punished if she joins the fight. She wants Xiaoyu to take her place if that happens, offering to teach him everything she knows. Xiaoyu wonders if destiny is the plot of the story, and if she's going to die. At that moment, he sees threads around his body, realizing that everyone is connected, while the threads connected to those who have died burn away. Xiaoyu realizes that it's destiny, and he suddenly starts crying, seeing that his friends are dead. He thinks that maybe this is the ending, but Lulu calls out to him, bringing him back to the real world. Xiaoyu thinks that destiny doesn't have the right to punish anyone, and thinks that he just might have a way to avoid destiny. But he tells Lulu that she will need to trust him. Han struggles against Zeke, who is about to finish him off with a powerful skill, but a talisman gets in the way, blocking the attack and reflecting it at Zeke. We see that it was Xiaoyu who stopped that attack, as he grows brightly after absorbing the energy of the disciples in the sect. Xiaoyu uses another spell, opening a large portal to the Devil Sect, and lifting the platform that his allies are standing on. The spell succeeds, but Yuna suddenly collapses after using all of her energy for the spell, and the disciples that were in the Devil Sect join the fight. Zeke is unfazed by the reinforcements, as he sends his puppets to attack. He sets his eyes on Xiaoyu, wanting to see what he can do, as Xiaoyu uses the platform he teleported from the Devil Sect, and it unleashes chains that bind all of their enemies. Zeke is unaffected by the chains, and he tries to attack Xiaoyu, but his allies defend him. Zeke questions how long he can stop his puppets for, but Xiaoyu summons a fire dragon that burns all of the dark puppets. Xiaoyu activates another skill, causing the stone from the platform to surround Zeke. Zeke tries to break free, but chains emerge and try to bind him. Zeke realizes that Xiaoyu is trying to trap him, so he uses his lightning to protect himself, and Xiaoyu starts coughing up blood. He is having a hard time, but he still has a trick up his sleeve. Xiaoyu takes his blood, as he starts drawing signs that strengthen his skills. Zeke's barrier breaks, and he gets restrained by Xiaoyu. However, Zeke suddenly breaks free, trying to attack Xiaoyu, but his staff is restrained. Quinn suddenly appears behind him, landing a powerful punch that causes a massive explosion, and he falls to the ground. Zeke struggles to get up, while Quinn and Han taunt him. He charges at them, but he gets caught by Xiaoyu's chains. The demons try to save their master, as Quinn tries to stop them, but one of them manages to break the chain. Zeke is informed that they have obtained the treasure that he's after, so it is time for them to retreat, and Zeke attacks to cover his retreat, and they lose sight of him. Xiaoyu coughs up blood, and his body loses strength, but Gong catches him. Sutian sees a system error as she realizes that Han and Xiaoyu have changed their destiny. The demon elimination mission ends, where Quinn receives recognition as the biggest contributor, while Han and Gong's contributions were also recognized, and we learn that Xiaoyu was allowed to return to the Carefree sect, also receiving recognition for his actions. Lin Fei and Yuna are now considered as good demons, so they are no longer being hunted, but they'll be staying under Xiaoyu's watch. We see Chen and Ren carrying Mei to a place where she can be treated, while Xiaoyu watches them from a distance, thinking that Chen will be mad at him. He sees Sutian, who warns him that he is not following the plot, but Xiaoyu thinks that he was sent to this world for a reason that was more than to just follow a story. Sutian insists he needs to stick to the story, but Xiaoyu distracts her with some fruit and just runs away. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.